Thanks for joining us tonight, you guys. This is just to help my speakers figure out who's in the audience today. You can click off multiple choices. Hopefully I captured one, if not more, of who you are.
The average Joe.
I had to be gender new, I should have been.
No, that's a good one. Average Joe.
Average Joe or Jenny. I had to be.
Average Joe or Jenny, yeah.
Yeah, I found my cousin is I think they call them non-binary. So now I have to be very sensitive to.
Wow.
I should have said average they. I think
that's what it is. They, yeah. I've been watching This Is Us. This is Us, that drama, and they have to call, they. That's interesting.
Yeah. So
you were using average Joe too, right? Was it you, Matt?
What? Average Joe?
Was it you that was using average Joe?
I didn't come up with that. There, but
I was hearing average Joe so much recently. I'm not sure if it was the video that the previous video between you two guys, or it was something.
Yeah, it was the previous video. You saw the other video that we did, and it was
that we using average Joe over there.
We were talking about the average Joe there. That was the whole podcast about That was my first one. I didn't know I could kill off an hour and a half of my own talking. I was worried that I would be done within a minute or two. I was like, I'd just be blaring it off like a rapid fire, and I'd be like 5 minutes and I'm done. But actually,
fast. But there was a law.
That's what I'm saying. I talk fast, yet I still lasted that long. That's two good things, right? That's fast and long. I mean,
there's a lot of cool material over there.
Yeah, Matt, he's got stories for days. He could write a novel on himself, so.
and he's fun talking to,
Yes.
He's fun
talking
with, yeah.
Very much
fun talking to. Yeah, I hope so. I think I'm gonna make
sometimes talking for an hour and a half, and we are brainstorming, talking about how about we do this and we do that.
That's what I like. Yeah, that's the exciting part. I mean, if I can do that every day and get paid, that'd be my perfect job. I'm just waiting a little bit longer to get paid, but it's still. Yeah.
You still put a lot of time studying, reading about these stuff. Literally every morning that I wake up, I have 3 hours.
Yes, I got a new idea. What do you think? And it's 6 o'clock in the morning over there. Give me a call when you wake up. I'm more excited about it than he is. And then he says, "No, not really." Okay, that's fine. I don't get offended. I mean, it's just a thought. But then the one that actually sticks, where he goes, "That's interesting." When he says that makes my day. I mean, it's weird, right? I mean, it's just.
No, the problem is when I wake up, the first thing that I hear is the sound of my baby singing, and he's sleeping in our bedroom. I mean, not on the bedroom, in our bed.
Right.
In our bedroom, but not on the bed. So he starts singing without crying or nagging or anything. Morning. So I wake up with that sound. And then from that moment until I'm leaving, it's all him. I literally cannot do anything else because I don't see him at nighttime. When I go home, he is asleep. So I only have that an hour and a half-ish. So, but yeah, every day I have cool articles from Matt.
Text articles, I kind of, switch it up.
Yeah, but Matt, you should be feeding him parenting articles about
No, that's not exciting. That's not exciting for me.
The funny part is my wife sends those articles to me. I'm like, you are in charge. Take care of that baby. I have another baby to take care of. Let's split the responsibility. But babies are cool.
Let me just answer Billy's question. Hey, Billy. Santa Clara City Library hours tomorrow. Tomorrow is, it's Friday already. Friday at Central Park Library is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is when we're open. Just remember that Northside and Mission are closed. Hopefully we'll reopen soon. Hopefully. So, And thanks for joining us tonight. If you haven't done so already, if you could do us a huge favor and take my unofficial anonymous poll. This just helps my speakers figure out who's in the audience today. Again, you can click on multiple options and again, totally anonymous. So thanks for joining us tonight. We'll get started in around a minute while everybody's kind of logging in here. While I'm doing that, let me refresh you on our upcoming programs. So February 19th, we have learning about innovation for grades K through 8. So if you have any future entrepreneurs like Reza or like Matt, you can definitely groom them for the next level. That is Saturday, February 19th at 2 o'clock. Pacific Standard Time. And then March 4th, we're going to be going back to basics. We're going to be marching, because it's March, marching to phonics for ages 3 through 5. So if you're trying to teach your kids how to read, learn phonics, we've got that going on. And that's at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Okay, let's end this poll really quick. Let's see who's in the audience today. We've got 38% of you guys that are average Joe or Jenny's working a 9-to-5 job. That is me. 8% of you are stock investors. 8% of you are real estate investors. We've got no venture capitalists. We've got 8% angel investor, 8% entrepreneur. I'm surprised I don't have anybody who's rich beyond belief, but I do have somebody that's rich in the mind, but not rich in the wallet, which is like me. And then we've got a bunch of other love to hear what that other is. But welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Cheryl, branch manager at the Santa Clara City Library. So glad you're joining us tonight. So let me refresh your memory a little bit. We did a program called Your Money to the Moon on November 1st, 2021. I had angel investor and my good friend, Matt Lee here. He talked about his journey from being an average Joe to an angel investor. And since that program, I've gotten tons of questions from you guys in my inbox. So one of the questions was, are you related to Matt? Because we have last name. Answer is no, not related, but he's like a brother from another mother. The other one is, hey, can Matt invest in my company? And what is he looking for when he looks for these companies? And so we thought that it might be a good idea to do a part 2 to this program and delve into the relationship more between Matt being an angel investor and his CEO founder. And I have Reza here, but I'll let Matt introduce Reza to create a Supernova partnership. So this program will be done in fire chat style, which means I'll be I guess I'm like Oprah, but an Asian Oprah, and asking Matt and Reza questions. And if you want to ask a question to them, please do me a favor and put that in the Q&A. And then that way we'll get to your question shortly. And so, hey, Matt, I'm going to kick it off with you. Thanks for coming back tonight. And thanks for bringing Reza on board as well. So just for people who didn't get to attend our first program on November 1st, can you kind of do a quick synopsis of how you became, you were an average Joe. I don't think he was ever average Joe, but he calls himself an average Joe, to being an angel investor.
Well, again, thanks, Cheryl, for having me, and I appreciate your time and all the audience that listened to us speak last time. And I appreciate everyone here today giving their time tonight to learn a little bit more about angel investing and the journey that I went through, and bringing on someone like Reza here from Revioly to speak with us as well. So just a little summary of what happened last time. I explained how my journey from childhood all the way through school, all the way through my career, led me to this final path of actually ending up into angel investing, which happened out of pure luck. But I think going back and looking at how things unfolded, as an average person growing up, the not so average part that Cheryl was talking about was really knowing that the entrepreneurial spirit inside, that curiosity, is what drove me. Okay. And there's a lot of people out there that have that as well. Some don't or haven't had that awoken yet, but that did happen to me. And so every time I did something, there was more that I wanted to do. And I think what I wanted to do was get to the point of being more efficient at my work, at my schooling, my job, my career, to the point where you don't trade your own time for money, but you get to that point of freedom where you get to control your own time and destiny rather than being a slave to that 9 to 5, which everyone would attest to. So that was our last program, and talking about that journey and the and the nuances of getting to the point of angel investing and having to decide whether that's something that's even attainable or not in your portfolio, because most people would argue that other than working, the main ways to invest are typically stock investing, real estate investing, and or having fund managers take care of your money. Okay, those are the 3 main ways, which keeps money fairly safe and close to you. But angel investing really is a hybrid of everything. Is kind of what I got to at the end of that program, which is the ability to have the freedom to enjoy and do what you love to do, not be confined to a 9 to 5, but utilize your hard-earned money and time and invest it and bet on someone else that has that also that energy and that capability, and work together as a team and try to grow that company and watch it get to go to the moon potentially. So I think that's, as a summary, that's where we were at last time until this point.
Okay, so since our last talk, have you onboarded any new investments? What have you been doing in the past? Like, I think it's been around four months. Yeah, what's been going on?
So I'd say that I do constantly get some proposals to look at, but looking at them, I realize now that there's different ways of looking at angel investing, and some people look at it as a very scary process. It's very high risk. And if you read anything about it, you'd know that to have any companies succeed and get to a unicorn status, which is a $1 billion company, it's about 1 in 3 million. And the chances of a company failing is around 90%. So with those odds, people usually shy away. So in the last 4 months, I disregard all of that, and I still utilize my experience, and don't listen to that noise, and go about how I visualize how I want to do my angel investing style. And everyone's going to develop their own style. And I think since the last time and now, I have onboarded a few more companies. Reza's company here from Revioli, I did onboard earlier last year, but I really appreciate his time coming out today to speak with us, because I think it's important to really get a real feel on what's out there. And you can't just read what angel investing is about because you're going to get scared away, or you will just not understand it. But the reality is it's not that scary, but it takes a little bit of understanding of what you're going to be getting into. And I think having a real life founder and CEO that I've actually been working with, and why I chose him, would give you that idea of how I analyzed and made my decision to invest. So what I'd like to for the audience to get out of here today is the ability for them to look at themselves and decide, is this something for me? Am I a passive investor, an active angel investor? Am I none of the above? This scares me. It doesn't really matter, but I think coming out of this, if one of those things connects with you, then I'm happy, because it's not about yes or no. It's about, is this right for you? And the whole art of angel investing, which I feel it is now, is very similar to dating. Okay, so these last 4 months, I've tried to figure out how to explain this in an easy manner for everyone to understand, and it really comes down to, how do you pick your partner when you date? Do you just look at them and say you're pretty or good looking? We're meant for each other because we're about the same height, same background, education, and I think we'd have great kids together, and so let's just get married and move on with life, or and have that chance of a failure of a marriage or failure of a partnership? Or do you really take time and find that chemistry or connection and see if there's a fit? That's what angel investing is that connection. And so it's only one side, what I'm telling you. But actually, when you portray this type of energy, talking to a potential company you invest in, that energy comes right back. And this is why I wanted to show you from Reza's side how he responded to that energy. Because when someone from one side shows you that they've got the best company in the world, they're super smart and they have everything under control, and you can't talk to them, you can't get close to them, then that's a complete gamble. That's where you're going to get the 90% failure potentially, or you go to the moon, but you have no control, you can't help it, and you might as well just throw a dart against the wall with your money. But I think to mitigate that risk in angel investing, you've got to treat it like you're interviewing someone else to be your potential partner for life, like a marriage. So with that, I'd like to welcome Reza and let us know a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me. Cheryl, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm Reza. My life has been pretty amazing in terms of fluctuations, going up and down, very different experiences. But I just want to give you a little bit background about how everything started. I was born in a family, like a larger family. I was the last baby. So I had this opportunity to grow up with, older babies, and then they were pretty much kind of older than me. So my family were kind of half doctors, half engineers, entrepreneurs. So I had to choose either of those two. So my mom said, go become a doctor, and I ended up becoming a doctor. And so it's all in Iran. I'm Persian. And I completed my medical school, and I was pretty active in the surgery and, surgery related fields. I was good at research. And right after I was done with my, with my medical school and, related stuff for that, I got an invitation from the chief of plastic surgery in Case Western Reserve University. They invited me. So I had the privilege to become a postdoc of plastic surgery in that department. So it was a very good time for me. I was getting to know US, and I was having the privilege again to shadow one of the biggest plastic surgeons in the world, Dr. Baman. He's like, at that time, he was at his 70s, and he's like a legend in plastic, and maybe among top 3 of the whole world. And he was both successful at, medicine and I will tell you why I'm talking about him, and in the business life. So when I was having my postdoc at plastic surgery and passing all the USMLE exams, becoming a doctor and certified doctor and ready to match and everything. So I was getting prepared for starting plastic surgery. And so one thing that happened is, you should give me a second because the light went off. So I will come back. All right. Yeah, that's life. So yeah. So I was getting kind of prepared for, I was having my postdoc, but when I was here in the US, so I was always in love with entrepreneurship. But when I was here, it was like I was unleashed, like a happy dog that can jump around and try to aim for what he really wants. And When it was said that US is the land of opportunity, I was like, I couldn't understand it until I was there and I was feeling it. So while I was doing my postdoc, I was still I started some little action startups. I failed in 7, 8 different ones, but they were very small. I was, trying to tip my toes into the water, see what's going on. But I was getting more and more in love with like Airbnb, Uber, and those sort of companies. And they were like all like younger at that time, like smaller companies, not that huge beast that they are now. And so what happened was I was like, I want to become an entrepreneur. So I started a business of selling on Amazon with $350 in my pocket. And I had a roommate at the time, and he was a PhD student. Both were in Cleveland. We are in Cleveland, Ohio. So I told him about it, and it was like, cool, let's start. And then we started wholesaling. We were purchasing from the distributors, selling on Amazon Marketplace, reselling kind of, just under. But it was cool. In like 7, 8 months, we had over $10,000 of money. So we did a very good job. And I talked to that doctor that I was talking about at the beginning, and I was at a point that I was finding my real passion, which was even higher than my passion to medicine. Although I really wasn't, kind of in love with medicine, but that love was something different. So I said, hey, is there any chance that I would be resident and do my startup at the same time? And at that time, it was not even a startup, it was a business, but I was seeing how it could progress to a startup. He was like, there is absolutely zero chance. Don't even think about it. And what's wrong with you? I was like, nothing. I just feel like I have something else to grasp, something that makes me stay up even more at the time that I'm a doctor, as the time as I'm a surgeon. And it was like, no, there is no chance. And I made it. I left medicine behind. I left plastic surgery behind. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And don't forget, I'm right now having maybe the value of products around $10,000 in the bank. It's nothing. Literally, it was like a pure, I can't say, I don't want to call it gamble, because it is not gamble. It's some sort of a belief, in some sort of a deep, hard belief that is the path that I'm going to take. So I continued. My friend was with me. We continued, but we were like, okay, now that we are all in, let's do more than just selling and making money. So we studied Amazon so much. We studied Walmart, e-commerce, all the ups and downs, and it gave us more than just being a seller. We were kind of instructor. So we knew everything about the business, about e-commerce. It was my passion. And we had this private label of ours, that we had a product that we launched, and it was a very, very good product, because we were kind of, it's like a few years after. And we were kind of at the beginning of our private label experience. And this product was selling very well at the beginning, and it got some 5-star reviews. And after, all of a sudden, it got 8 successive 1-star reviews. And the reviews were like, I hate it. I don't like it. I don't recommend it. No extra. We were like, why? It was like an eye massager, and we were getting it from Alibaba, like a traditional model. We're like, why? It's a good product. We've done all the tests. We've received like 10 different model back and forth. It's not like we just ordered like many other sellers. We were just doing very, very classic actions. And anyways, that passed until we went to Amazon Seller Summit, something that we used to go a lot. And then we figured that, oh, it's a very common practice from bad competitors. And then worse than that, it was the fake reviews coming from fake review providers, that the products are, receiving a lot of fake reviews. And you as a user end up buying a product, 5-star product, you receive it's junk with hundreds of reviews, and today thousands of reviews. And it's junk in few weeks, up to a couple months, you have to throw it away. It doesn't work anymore. And it's very, very common. And it's that common that we are not even getting bothered about it. We think that, oh, okay, I just paid for this phone wireless charger. I just paid $35. It doesn't work after 2 months. It's okay. That's how it is, which is not how it should be. And we were like, okay, there is a big problem is happening here. And we got to solve that. So we were right now having from our, 1-bedroom apartment, we're right now, I mean, the bedroom apartment, we are now in a warehouse for that business, but we're like, okay, now we are going towards our startup model, which is solving the problem of reviews. So we started officially the idea of Revioli around beginning of 2019 until we set it up kind of partially, and then the third person joined us. So my co-founder, that person, that was my roommate. We were still together. We are still together. His name is Farbot. And we built it until this time. And then we needed another technical, pillar to us to make the tripod like working very well. And we got a friend of us, another PhD, Umberto, and we got him to the team. He's another brilliant guy. So we were at the time that, okay, now we gotta go. We are having a tech startup. We are doing something different. We gotta go to the place that a real tech startup succeeds. So we jumped on the car, us three, from Cleveland to here. It was a 4-day road trip, and 2 of us were working because business was running. 1 was driving. So we got here, and we formed Revioli early, like the formal Revioli, early January 2021, and here I am.
Wow.
A pretty long story, but maybe it was kind of something that might answer some questions later on.
Wow, fascinating. But Matt, how did you end up meeting Reza? How did that dating process work, as you would like to call it, because you just said it's like dating. So how did that work?
Well, we were kind of match made. Okay, so
okay, so there was another person involved.
Sure. So a friend of Reza's is also another company that I invested into, and similarly, I met him by chance. That was part of the other story, but it turned out to be a very good investment and relationship, and the way that grew organically translated into a referral to Reza, saying, you're a doctor, he's a doctor, you guys are both entrepreneurs, I think you'll get along. He's a very smart guy, not very much time, but he was able to refer that off. And I said, okay, I'll have a little talk with him and let's see where this goes. And as soon as we started talking, it just started sparking. And then the ideas start coming out, this story that he just mentioned coming out. And in my head, and coming back to this, this whole conference today, is what was I thinking? Like, I'm trying to gauge him as a person, but also as a potential business to work with. What's going on through my head? Well, when he tells me the story about his humbleness, his successes, some of his failures along the way, what he gave up, that to me checked off a lot of boxes that are outside of the typical boxes that you would check off to do an investment. Okay, most people would look at the person's background, if they're related to the industry, and what's their progress, who else is invested, and what's the financials of the company, and they'll make decisions upon that. They really take that gamble based upon some very superficial things because they don't have the time. They will take that and they'll invest, and hopefully it turns out. If not, they write it off. I couldn't afford that. I had to watch my investment. And when you do individual investments, there's different classes of them. There's ones where you go in a group and put a very little bit of money, and you hope that you can analyze online and follow a whole group of people and it goes somewhere, but you really won't get much excitement out of that. Number 2 is you have a lead angel investor, someone like myself that follows the company very, very close, and you follow along with a larger amount, and you hope that works out as well. And you add some value alongside, and we become a whole team supporting a company like Revioli. Then there is myself first and foremost, because I have to go in and find out if it's something worthwhile. And my technique on how to get along, find out if this is a perfect fit for me is, do I feel that vision and that connection that he's talking about? Do I feel him as a good person that I can get along with? And will he treat other people well? Can he take criticism and grow? And because those are all features that, when someone's stressed out with that role as CEO and founder, you've got a lot of responsibility and you have to know someone can handle it. And just being smart is not good enough. But being smart, being humble, being able to show your vulnerabilities means that you're willing to try and not give up to succeed. So that's one of the four things I look for in founders. And it's sort of called a founder's thesis, and you can look it up as well. But a lot of successful angels and entrepreneurs always refer back to, if I had to look back and why I'm so successful, it's all because of the founder, actually. Taking that from every single investor, from Chris Sacca from Google, from Peter Thiel, who is a co-founder of PayPal. I've got clips where they say exactly those words. You take that back and apply it to the real world, and you get close enough to a founder, you can ask those questions and feel them out. If not, it's a complete gamble. So to take that out of the picture, you get close enough and you get a sense of 4 P's, as I call it: passion, persistence and perseverance, empathy, the ability to be outside and feel for other people, and also positivity. Okay, you've got to have all that combination to be able to have some sort of recipe for success. And so, my father was a great example of that. Amazing father that was able to support 3 kids and go through perseverance and keep positive even through downturns where there was unemployment. I saw that all happen and unfold in front of me, and I said to myself, I hope to be as strong as he is. And that kind of kept with me because it worked out. Even though I'm not an immigrant per se, I was born in Canada. I actually look for founders that have those traits, but also are immigrants. In fact, Warren Buffett does say that he looks for people that are immigrants. They work really hard, and they actually take up 50% of all the Fortune 500 companies in this country today. Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Google, they're all from immigrant founders because of the innate entrepreneurial spirit that they come to this country, and it's the land of the free. It's that drive, and it's very true in my eyes as well. So that's another aspect of looking at it. So I think these are things that you can do in an angel investment where you really can't do in a stock or real estate or any other asset classes. You can't get that close. So that's what I recommend is, if this is something you're looking at, get close enough to the action, okay? Because it's going to tell you a lot about where this relationship will go. So, and going back again, why I invested into Revioli or looked at that, looked at his company was because of initially that founder's thesis, and that was enough for me to be a part of it. Because again, Reza allowed me to be a part of his company in that journey, and that meant a lot for me because I think as a team adding value together, more minds is better than just 1 or 2, and I think there's a lot of value there. So.
Matt, I have a follow-up question to that.
Sure.
Because you talked about how you met Reza through another CEO and founder of another company. So do you mostly invest in companies by referral? Meaning so Reza has to know somebody who's a CEO or a founder or an entrepreneur, and then you might take a look at it, or do you also take people off the street and people just regular Joes?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's actually best if you get a referral from someone, because then there's a warm contact, there's an initial trust right off the bat to work off of. And I think when you have the ability to work with a founder, the referral works out. If you don't have that closeness with the company, then you really have to rely on something that you
Matt,
research yourself.
Matt, why don't you tell them about the story of that CEO? How did you find him?
Okay.
That was off the street.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. That was off the street, and it's a very interesting situation.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you if you found anybody off the street.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, did. Yeah,
start off, and I actually got very, very, it's partially, a combination of experience and luck, and I did luck out because, as an entrepreneur myself, I had a few cars, and I rented out one of my cars on Turo.com. And I happened to get an inquiry from someone coming in from Canada that needed to pick up at SFO. He told me no one else would pick him up. And I said, I'm a nice guy. I'll come pick you up. You're from Canada. What the heck? So you just, I'll go for the ride and you can drop me back off and you can take my car for the weekend or the week, whatever it may be. And so this drive down, I asked him what he was doing here. And he said he was here pitching to companies for, to fund his startup. And that was the first time I was introduced to a startup. Even though I was lived in Silicon Valley, I was like everyone else. I hear about it in the news. I've never gotten close to the action, but here I am sitting beside a founder, and we started talking. Tell me about your idea. What are you doing here? And his story, he spoke just like Reza. He goes, "This is my story. This is what I'm doing. I really have belief in here, and I'm here to get some investments." And I was intrigued, and I got along with him very well. And I said, can I come and watch you pitch? So I did. I watched him pitch to some companies, some VCs, venture capitalists, and it was very interesting to see him get turned down. And I saw how they analyzed and turned them down. And I thought to myself, I don't think they're seeing the right things that I'm seeing, but who am I to say? I'm nobody. And then I brought him to some of my friends to invest, and they said the same thing. They didn't really see much. And I even had a friend, a roommate that at the time was an engineer, and went head on to talk to the founder and said, "You have nothing special here. You're just making an inefficient process more efficient. Anyone can do that." He turned to me and said, "I can do that. Don't give him the money. I've got friends that are engineers. I can build it." And I said, "I don't feel comfortable giving you that kind of money when he actually started this and he's got so much momentum. He's here to pitch to VCs already. I think I'm going to go with someone that's got the experience." And he said, "Suit yourself." And actually they started off and tried to do it on their own and failed within 2 months because it just wasn't what they were passionate about doing. So sticking with the founder, he told me, he goes, I'm appreciative that you stuck with me, and I'm going to teach you the ropes, what I know along the way, so that we go through this together as founder and angel, because it's new to me too. But I think we can do this together. And next thing you know, I get calls back saying I've achieved this goal, I've achieved this next goal, and so forth. And now they're actually the world's largest educational platform for international students. They're called applyboard.com. You can look them up. But they have reached $3.2 billion valuation at this point, and going to go even further, I believe. So I think, and from there, he had a lot of increase from friends, very smart friends that are on their startup journey. And that's when he recommended me to some of his colleagues that said, "I think you can benefit from an angel like Matt that could work with you and be in your team." And so that's where I started getting the warm referrals. So, and then that's where Reza and I met. But again, nothing's really changed in terms of how I look and feel, because I need to keep close with my investments, and I want to be a part of the action, and that's my criteria. So what I'm doing is just sharing you all today my criteria, how I felt, what I went through, real time, real life, and I'm hoping Reza can kind of give you his side of things to see that match that happened. And when you're out there, someone's going to tell you that they've got something, they know someone that has a startup or something. Would you be willing to invest? Or the key word is, would you like to invest in something? That word in itself should trigger you to put on your cap and say, okay, I'm here to step up. I'm not going to be taken advantage of, but I want to hear about the opportunity. And you may not want to miss that opportunity. And I think hearing some of these things today may give you some of that clarity, confidence, or again, scare you away from the whole thing. So, but.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
So Reza, tell me from your perspective, because I mean, you're vetting maybe angel investors, maybe people who might want to invest in your company. So tell me, if I was Matt, how does it work? How does the fundraising process work for your company? And what are you looking for in an angel investor or an investor in your company?
So it's said that a successful investment, not necessarily angel, but successful investment will last around 7 years, which is longer than the average lifetime of a marriage in the United States. So it's very, very important that it's a mutual thing. You choose the investor, the right investor, while the investor is choosing you. And as Matt was mentioning at the beginning, like there are two types of investors. One are the passive ones and one are the active ones. And like Matt's personality was a very, very friendly, close type of mindset, active investor to me. So even from the day one. So I know I didn't even pitch him. So what happened was that we just opened I opened the computer and I started talking to him. I was at home, and it was kind of late time because he was not in Canada at the time. So we had like time differences. So it was kind of late night my time. And I didn't even go through the pitch deck. We just talked. We just talked about what the story is, what I've done, what I'm gonna do, what the plans are, who's the team, what the story of the company is, and it just, that chemistry was there, and I was not sure if I even sold anything to him or at all. Like it was like there. So and that ended up to, I mean, I didn't. He, how can I say it? I was not even uh, pushing on it, and Matt was not even trying to be demanding on it. It was just there. And so what was happening was our relationship kept continuing, and in a way that we brainstormed together. And Matt has one very, very unique feature, and that is he is not trying to judge at all. He is not trying to put you at a corner and push you to the corner at all. That's not him. He wants to help you somehow by brainstorming, by coming up with new ideas, by sending you articles, like we are friends, like the relationship that Matt and I have. Of course, I have other investors too. I'm friends with them too, but literally my closest relationship is with Matt. And like I know that we can sit and talk for 2 days in a row and have fun the whole time, and have beer and have fun and work and talk, and that's how we are. So that was the chemistry that was leading me to choose Matt, and very excited for this.
Great. So Reza, I'm gonna go back to you. And what is daily? I mean, you told us a little glimpse of daily life. Life in general is for you as a founder. I mean, you open up your email and you get like 3 emails from Matt a day. But other than that, what other things? What is daily life like as a founder and CEO at this stage in the game for you? Because your company, you founded it in 2020, so it's around what, 2 years old now?
Yeah. So in fact, my life was much crazier than now in terms of the amount of work that I was having before I had my baby. So my baby, I'm a father of a baby boy. He's 5 months old, and since he's born, my first 2 hours and maybe an hour and a half of day is kind of spent with him, like from kind of 5:30 to 7, sometimes from 5 to 6:37 at that time. And after that, as you said, I will open up my WhatsApp and receive maths articles and messages. I read them. That's kind of my early feed newspaper, like old newspaper. I don't have now. I have maths WhatsApp articles, and they're like the best. Like I'm wondering how he finds it. I still do not know because they come from different places. But anyways, so I go to work like pretty early, like around 7:30 ish, and I'm in the office mostly until like 8:30, 9, depending on that, and then I go back home mostly, spending a couple hours trying to read until like around maybe 12ish, and then I go to bed. So this is my daily schedule.
Has that, well, I mean, you mentioned that that has changed since you've had a baby, you know, you have your 5-month-old, but when you were first starting the company, was there any difference in your schedule, in your life? I mean, was it much more chaotic, or was it pretty ebbs and flows the same?
I used to work in the office on. I'm very old school, although I'm not that old, but I'm very old school. I go to office during the whole COVID time. Every day, every single day, I went to office. I can't work from home. I don't do that. My two co-founders, both, we are all the time. We drove back here from Cleveland in the COVID, in the, like 2-3 months after the COVID started. It was March 20, but we came here in June 2020. So it was like right at the COVID time, but we were every day here. So what I'm saying is that before the baby, we used to, I mean, I used to be in the office until like 10:30ish every day, and starting early morning, and the full Sundays too. But right now I have maybe half a Sunday with family, and the remainder of the time I'm working. So that is the difference after the baby. I mean, I still enjoy the baby because I have half a week, half a Sunday per week, and then an hour and a half per day. I mean, per week, and then an hour and a half per day every day.
So it sounds like it was, were you working the same amount of hours as when you were a plastic surgeon, or you would say more as an entrepreneur, you're clocking in more hours, or similar?
No, medicine is crazy. So I'm pretty. I mean, when I was an intern, uh, we were having maybe 10 to 12, 13 shifts per month. And our shifts were starting from 6 a.m. today, ending 3 p.m. next day.
Ooh.
And then we would stay at home from 3 p.m. until like next morning, which is like 4 a.m. waking up and be in the hospital like around 5, 6 a.m. And then all the way to the day, a day and a half later. So it was pretty crazy. So I'm used to working hard. And when you enjoy doing something, you don't even feel it. When I'm not working, I'm like, it's like something is eating my brain. That, oh my god, I I I cannot watch a TV show at all. Like I feel like it is wasting my time. So I enjoy working. At that time, it was crazy. Now it is crazy for others, but for me, it was like maybe somehow workaholic. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you love working a lot, but you're passionate about what you do. So it's totally like fun working, I guess.
Yeah, I can say they're pretty much the same. Being an entrepreneur and being a surgeon, they're pretty much the same regarding the amount of work. Of course, you do not have, as a doctor, you do not have the flexibility that you do have as a surgeon, because, you know, if you're a doctor, you do not have a 3 a.m. It doesn't exist. You might have to wake up at 3 a.m., go and take care of your patient. You do not have any time that say, okay, this is mine, unless you take some days off. That's a different story. But as an entrepreneur, at least you have your sleeping time taken care of, whatever hours that it is. You don't have to wake up. But as a doctor, it's kind of, I can say, tougher, especially in the surgery field. But in general, both are pretty hectic, kind of, I can say.
Okay. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Matt. Same question to you. I got a little glimpse of your life, your daily life, which is you're probably in bed looking at some type of business, articles and stuff like that, sending them to Reza. But other than that, what is your daily life as an angel investor? And yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, actually, it's an interesting question because I've been a founder of different companies like Reza's gone through, so I understand the type of dedication of time, energy, and mental stress you go through. So to relieve my stress, I've always been interested in investing on the side. It's always been stock market investing and so forth. But that's the only thing I can do to relieve my stress is research articles, do things as a side hustle, say. But what happened was coming into the angel investment world was if I can somehow keep myself afloat, but then invest in someone else that has that energy and grit and dedication and appreciate what they're doing and not pressure them in the way that other people may, and that's the way I want to invest, that gives me the ability to join them and do what I want to do on my own terms. So what's my typical day now is taking what I love to do and breaking it up into my different companies. And so I think about, each day, each company, and it goes through a whole week cycle. I've got about five, 6 companies, but then each day I would be thinking like all about Revioli. The other day I'd be thinking about Applyboard or some of the other companies. And I would look far and wide on the internet, on business channels I watch throughout the day. And whatever I see come at me that clicks into any of those companies I have in my portfolio, I immediately think alongside of the founder, and then I help them out and say, what do you think about this? How's your day going? And give them that support that they need, because the stress that they go through of everyone wanting something from them, they have no time to say, what about me? That's the problem with being a founder and CEO. That I understand the stress. It's not fun. So to go in there and be just someone to say, it's okay, how's it going? Tell me the good and the bad, the exciting stuff. The exciting stuff obviously is great, but then sometimes there's some deflation. Something goes wrong a little bit. And doesn't have to be the end of the day. It's just a little bit of a setback. That's okay. So it's all part of the journey. So I think being able to have that ability to wake up whenever I want, but work whenever I want to support the company in a way where I know I'm giving them value, right? Just the value of even calling them or giving them some attention outside of what they're normally used to already is a sort of a stress relief. Am I right, Reza? It's a little bit kind of like gives you a little bit of a time to, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, being a founder is a very lonely job.
Lonely, that's the word, yeah.
Nobody understands you. So even your spouse, they don't understand you, and unless they're an entrepreneur. So it's a pretty lonely job, especially when you are smaller. You have literally not that much thing to grasp. So when you are bigger, you are getting seen more. Of course, the pressure is higher, but there are some shiny stuff around you that gets you a little bit, deflates the stress. But when you are smaller and you are bootstrapping and you are pounding, hammering, nobody sees you. You're not visible to anybody. And everybody thinks that you are wasting your time, from your parents to your family to your spouse to your close friends. And then especially if you've done some movement like mine to leave something like medicine behind and surgery, and then you've been kind of good at that, it's becoming even more weird to them that why did you do that? And then you cannot explain to them, and then they do not see the pace of growth that an early stage startup cannot have in most cases. So you want to have some sort of a supporter than just an investor that passively gives you the money and goes. And then worse than that is an investor that gives you the money and tries to ask so many questions that is not helping you. Your best bet, which you should be lucky to get, is having somebody like Matt that is a part of business. I mean, Matt is my advisor too. He's not only an investor, but he is a part of business. He comes up with ideas. He brainstorms with you. Like sometimes we talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours, like almost 1 or 2 times per week. We literally just talk, even for a short time, just to see how everything is going. And sometimes we don't even talk about business because he knows how lonely it is, and he just tries to kind of support emotionally. And I totally agree that what Matt was saying. Yeah.
Okay. Before I get to our Q&A question, because I was going to ask that one, but I did want to ask you guys, because obviously you guys have had a lot of successes, but you guys are obviously calculated risk takers. I mean, both of you under your belt have had several different companies that you founded, that you've made successful. But with all that risk comes some failure. And what is your biggest failure, and what would you have done differently so that people can learn from maybe some mistakes or some, short thing that fell short?
Okay, maybe I can start with that one because that's been on my mind a lot, and because there's never just a rosy picture, and if it's just a rosy picture, it's not good. So part of what I do is when I'm talking to someone, if they tell me that they've never failed, everything's perfect, I turn away. I don't want to invest in them because they're just trying to pull a quick one over me. An example of that is right now, and if you've watched the stock market, is Nightscope. Okay, they just went public, but if you've seen their ads, they're talking about having security robots. They're all on TV, saying they're the next big thing in security. But the red flag that came up to me was, if they're going to be such a big deal, why are they asking on TV for investors to give only $1,000 at a time? That does not make sense at all. You don't grab small amounts of money from thousands of investors, because you know why? As a company, you can't handle that many shareholders as a private company. As a public company, you don't care how many shareholders you have. But when you have a private company, you want to keep your what's called a cap table very small, and you want to know who they're at, because at the end of the day, you're responsible to every one of them when things convert from an angel investment to shares in a Series A or B or C. So if you have thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of them, it's impossible. But that means they need the money. And they went public, and the stock shot up the first day, maybe double, triple, and now they're way below. Okay, why is they way below? Because now it's uncovered that they really didn't talk about how bad their financials were, how bad they were losing money. The founder had the founder failed and had a bankrupt company prior to that. Nothing wrong with failure and bankruptcy. But if you don't disclose that, you try to hide that, that's a red flag. So long story short it's not always rosy. I mean, companies like that, companies like Theranos, sometimes you have to figure out there's a front. But by getting close enough, you can understand if the person's willing to be vulnerable or not. But everyone's gone through failures and successes. And if you're willing to talk about your failures, it's the greatest thing. You have to fail to succeed. You have to. You have to learn from that mistake and know how to do better and not go back and do that mistake again. Then you teach that to your founder, or they teach you, and it's everyone teaches each other, so that it's very true. I think there's so much value in people that are elderly. They can't share their story, but there's so much experience, no one to talk to. They're a wealth of experience and opportunity, of successes and failures. You've got to talk to everybody. So I think going back to what you're talking about, what are the failures? There's many failures, but you have to accept those failures and not give up. And I think that's the key. One of the key things is recognizing someone, or even yourself, that a failure is a success, and if they're willing to talk about it, that's the right person you want to work with, because they're not afraid to work through a problem. And again, that's a relationship. You don't talk about problems, it's going to blow up on you. So,
Reza, what about you?
I failed a lot. I mean, I don't believe there is any entrepreneur who has been doing entrepreneurship and hasn't been failing at all. It doesn't happen. It might be small, but you cannot not fail. I failed. My first major failure was when I was at med school back at home. So I incorporated the second animal study research company with the two other co-founders in the whole country, and I was a chairman. And like the story that I failed over there was it was a very good company. It was growing very fast, and of course I had to, on my way to leave. But what happened was we were in a disagreement with one of the other co-founders, and it was like we had like 33 shareholders at a time, and they made one of those fake board, but in the very rudimentary style meetings, and they kicked me out of that because I kind of had the power, and I learned a lot from that time. Of course, I was leaving the country as well, but it was one of my main failures. A big story, but yeah, I failed over there. And then there were many other projects that I started when I was here in the US before I actually get into e-commerce. And one of them was a project of medication delivery. It was much kind of before this delivery stuff from CVS. Another was called Safe Med Delivery, Safe Medel. And never got into actual form, but that was another one. I've had a dozen.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Hey, Matt, a question came in for you. What excites you the most about being an angel investor? I thought you did talk about this in your first presentation, but what really kind of excites you about the angel investing process?
I think it's the most exciting asset class available. It gives you the opportunity to pick projects that align with your with your dreams or your goals that you may not be able to do all yourself, but you get to participate in others that have that capability and backing to live that dream. And so by being an angel investor, being an active one anyways, you have the capability of making a very large return on an investment where it's in a way shielded from the markets. Okay, the volatility of the markets. Companies have to grow no matter what. And if you've noticed, the stock market's gone up and down. Companies fail, some of them don't, but a lot of them mature during failure times or during times of growth. You don't know that they're growing. Google, Facebook, Uber all started at this stage, but you don't hear about it until they go public. So it's a little bit too late. But that whole grind for the 5 to 10 years was a journey. And now you hear when there's successes, and then you look at who were involved, and those guys are the ones that come out and say, I did this, I did that, and some of them, don't tell the whole story. They just want to talk about their success. But it's really good to hear some talk about why that was successful and what they learned along the way, kind of what we're trying to do to teach ones that will start now to see the next great thing. And that's, I think, the major impact that you can have on the world, society, is that gamble that you can do if you diversify properly with the investments, what you do. And to be a part of that from the beginning and impact that many lives is really powerful. And it doesn't matter if it makes it or not all the way. If it just makes a little bit of an impact, gets to a certain point, gets bought out, goes IPO, it's a good feeling that it's growing up as it should, as a seed into a beautiful flower. So that's very exciting. And of course, again, the returns are exceptional if you can actually do well. So.
Speaking of the returns, Matt, before I get to what Reza's company actually does, hopefully, Reza, you could
Sure.
do a little test drive of of what your company does. But going back to you, Matt, getting back to the investment, what is the typical amount of investment that you make into a company? You talked a little bit about kind of the structure of what you could do, but what is like the average typical amount of investment that you make as an angel investor? We'll start with that one first.
The angel investors are the bridge between the family and friends and the venture capital seed rounds, which is, series rounds, which is A, B, C, D. When the venture capitalists come in, they like to play a big ball. They take it and you just go along for the ride at that point. But the hardest part is the angel part. And from there, it takes some seed rounds to go through to get to that point. But, to do $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 rounds, you have to go with the syndicate, and usually that's on Angel's List or something where you're part of a bigger pool of people. And again, you really have no control over there because that lead angel and that company, you can only get that close because you're such a small part of it. Or you can have a more intimate type of lead angel and have angels behind them, some passive ones, which I do have. And those usually are in the ticket ranges from about 25 to 100,000, okay, to go in. The maturity date on these, it could take 5 to 10 years. Some companies take that long. That's the average time it takes for a company to get acquired or go IPO. So you've got to have a lot of patience. But over time, the multiple of the returns off that money would equate to you buying a house and letting it sit for 10 years as well. Or more, or even less. But typically angels will go up to maybe $500,000 at the most. Anything more than that is usually VC territory, and they use other people's monies at that point. But angels use their own money or their sweat equity for advisory and so forth, up to about 250, 500,000.
Okay, and then what do you get? Okay, so let's say, let's backtrack really quick. You talked about like the Kevin O'Leary model, where you kind of just like do these little kind of amounts that, and where they invest in kind of like smaller kind of entities, and you wouldn't suggest that. But what do you get for your investment?
If you follow it enough. And typically the investment either goes to zero. It doesn't really linger in between. Startups either go to zero or they go. They never really stay like a mom and pop company for a very long time. So that's the good thing about it. It's pretty binary, but it's pretty extreme where most of them fail. But if they don't fail and they move along the pathway and they get funding to progress without any scandals or anything to bring them down to zero, it typically varies from a very typical 2 to 3x for a very small type of company. But more typically, people look for an average around 5 to 10x on their investment, and that is pretty typical if the company survives and moves through. Now, if you're lucky and you get a very if you get a unicorn, $1 billion company, you're looking at 100, 200x returns, sometimes even 1,000x returns. It's ridiculous how high they can get. For example, the founder of Zoom. I don't know if anyone knows this story, but that founder pitched an idea to an angel investor. He said, "I don't have a pitch deck. This is my idea. I used to work at WebEx, Cisco, but this is what I have going on." And he told his story, and the investor said, "Stop. I don't need to see anything. Where do I write my check?" Similar to what Reza said about how I did it, because he went along. His analysis was all founder based and so forth, and he wrote a $150,000 check or $200,000 check. And at the peak of Zoom, when it after it went IPO in 2019, he was worth $750 million, $750 million from the 150,000, 200,000. So, and Jason Calacanis, he's on everyone on the radio as well. He's very famous for taking 25,000 and turning it to 100,000, turning it to 100 million from Uber and a couple of other ones.
Another cool example is Reid Hoffman. He got 13,000x on Facebook. That's I guess that's a record. Like 13,000x. It's like crazy.
Yeah. It can be pretty high. So that's why it's a very exciting game, but it's also very risk adverse. So, but you have to go in with the mentality of what's better? Is gambling at casino better, stock market better, or do I get scared off and put it in my bank account where it's going to depreciate and be worth nothing? So, or real estate. But real estate and stock markets are at all-time highs right now too. Sometimes investing in a private company could be a better bet. And by the way, Kathy Woods, who is the female Warren Buffett of the world right now, just launched a new fund that is aimed at going into private companies. That's never happened before. They're usually always public companies. She's like, I'm going to go into private companies. There's less volatility, but the money stays in there longer, so our clients can't cash out, which is exactly the mentality of angel investing. You're in, don't expect to come out that fast unless things move really quickly. But the returns are very attractive. So.
Got it. Question came in. Obviously, you guys are very well educated. You guys, even though you're on your name, it doesn't say doctor. You guys are both doctors. But what's the common educational background of a founder in general, and approximately percentage-wise are non-business? For example, for medicine, that was one of the examples.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a statistic, but what I see is that there's two types of founders. There's one that's the typical brilliant nerd that's in that field, and they develop something, okay? And then he's attracting everybody coming in from the big investors and so forth. You probably can't touch those because people are just gambling purely on that brilliance of that person in that field, and they believe that's the best bet. And so that's what they do. But most founders' educational level that I've found to succeed, again, comes from a combination of someone that's very smart, that jumps outside of their field, and are an immigrant. I've seen that happen a lot more. And the stats for what Warren Buffett said about half the companies in the Fortune 500 being immigrants becoming, that large. And if you look at their backgrounds, some of them are rocket scientists, some of them aren't. Some of them are just, regular. Most of them, I would say, are graduate level, some PhDs and so forth in their fields, but not necessarily in their field. Most of them come out are doing something that's not purely related to what they're doing. That's what I've seen as well.
Great. Reza, tell us more about your company.
Sure. So Revioli is a tech startup that is missioned to make online shopping reliable. So if you think for a second, when you're doing a shopping online on Amazon, Walmart, anywhere else, technically there are two things that bias you. Number one is the price. So you don't know if right now that you are buying this product on anywhere, you don't know if you're getting the best price. Is this product getting sold somewhere else? Is there somewhere else that this product is on sale? You don't know that unless you want to go search on Google or anywhere else, and then be hopeful that you can find everything. So number one is price, and number two is the reviews. And in fact, reviews are the most, the number one most desired element for online shoppers to make a purchasing decision based on. So with that being said, and with the fact that around 94% of online shoppers read at least one review before making a purchase. And in addition to all of those, the fact that 54% of online shoppers read at least 4 reviews before making a purchase, all of these together make the reviews as the number, as one of the two reasons to make a bias on shopping. So Revioli solves these two bias. biases all together in a tool that we have come up with. So this is that you're showing is Revioli.com. This is the place that online shoppers can, this is the place that we generate authentic reviews. And I mean, if you scroll down, you can see most products. It's in home and kitchen, but it's a section of our main tool, which is our extension. And that Chrome extension that we have very recently launched is something that solves those two problems that I was talking about. And by downloading that extension, users will have, the chance to get the price of it, to compare the price for a product from all over the internet, right on the product page, and with a clickable link. So you can find the best price in a second. Plus, you will find all the authentic reviews from all over the internet for every product while you're on a product page. And if you do not have time to read those reviews, we have summarized them in one review, and you will read that one review and you will understand everything about the product, in a few seconds. So that is how Revioli will make online shopping reliable and bias-free.
Great. Am I doing an okay job scrolling here?
So you are on Revioli.com,
Sorry.
But that no, that's okay. This is another piece of the Revioli whole package. But that extension is a Chrome extension that, if you want to find it, you can find it at Google Web Store, like Chrome Web Store, and then it's gonna act right away on your Amazon page. So you are on an Amazon page, on Walmart, Target, Macy's, Home Depot, you will see all of the honest reviews and all of the, bucks of the pricing from all over the internet right on the product page. So that is our special service for the, e-commerce.
And looking at it from an investor point of view, he's solving a very large problem that's polluting the e-commerce environment, and taking away some pain points that consumers have, which is, I've got to click on different sites to check the product pricing and go back and forth. And then there's so many reviews to go through. Some of them are fake, some of them are real. I don't have time for this, but I will probably click and see which one has the most detail and go with that. I mean, it makes that shopping so tedious that solving the problem and being able to go globally with it and scale makes it attractive to an investor, because with this Google Chrome tool, you're not changing the user habits, right? You're going shopping, you're clicking, and you're looking for prices, and you click there, and you make decisions really quickly. You don't have to pull out your wallet and put in credit cards. You don't have to sign up and register your name and email address. Those are the type of businesses where they can reach a lot of people and without much change, and still be able to have a profit from that. Reminds me of Google. You go to the search engine, you look for things, but you click on these links here and there. Google makes money. You don't even know it. But Google does help you search for what you need, and it's become the dominant tool. And it creates that ecosystem. So you kind of want that big scaling, the ecosystem, first to market, to dominate. And if you look at the competition, great, there's competition, but are they going to be able to provide that much value to dominate? Or are they just going to be one tool in the ecosystem? Look at Bing. They were a search engine. They failed because that's all it is, just Bing. But Google has Gmail, Google Maps, Google Chat, you name it. So that's, from an investor point of view, when you see that, you hear that, the big vision, you align with it, you just start thinking alongside, and you support the founder. That is a recipe for a good bet. No guarantees at all, but man, if you can align yourself, that is where the passion comes in. You're part of something big. I could never do that myself. I would never think about that myself. But why would I want to compete and go? I might as well go invest with Reza and join that journey, and hope we can do well together. And you do that with a couple other passionate endeavors, and that kind of keeps you busy as an angel. So.
So Reza, so your site this is a question. So your site pulls the reviews from different platforms into your platform. How do you ensure the integrity of your reviews? And then what is the long-term goal for your company in the next 5 years?
So the part that you said, let me make a little correction, because it's not on my platform necessarily. It is on my platform, but it's mainly on any platform. So literally the reviews move globally from one platform to another one as long as they are authentic. So if you're on Amazon, you will see authentic reviews from Walmart, from Target for the same exact product, the same way. For when you are on Macy's, you will see everything from Amazon and Walmart and Target and Home Depot. If this product is getting sold on different places. And how do we find those authentic reviews? We have a very sophisticated algorithm. I have a team of R&D. We are a startup, but we have an R&D team of 3 PhD people that are like, probably the best of the market. Again, the light went up. Give me a second. I'm sorry.
Hey, Reza, you need to invent a new invention.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I try to move, but I guess the answer is not here. So I was saying that we have around like 14 different algorithms to authenticate the reviews. And then we have Revioly certified reviews that we are not just saying a review that is authentic is good. We believe that a review that adds value to the next shopper is good. So we use all of our algorithms and machine learning, NLP, to get to the point that this review is Revioly certified. So we provide that integrity through this way. And I guess your next question was, where do I see Revioly in 5 years? Mm-hmm. Well, that's a very good question. The amount that I can share, because a big chunk of it is a part of our big plans. But what I can say is that Revioly is going to become a smart shopping hub, which is literally a place to get you connected beyond a retailer, in between every shopping place for every product that you want to purchase. So you can, using one tool, have the ability to make the most reliable and unbiased decision that you could possibly make as an online shopper, without getting manipulated by the profiteers, by the fraudulent people, and get the best pricing, get the highest value on your shopping, and making a product, adding a product to your house or household need that is actually worth what you are paying for. So that is what Revioly is gonna take the path until like 5 years from now.
Okay, few questions coming in. Reza, how's Revioly different from or better than WikiBuy? And do you think there are more competitors coming?
Oh yeah. So we have good chunk of competitors, and that's actually very, very good news. So WikiBuy is good. It's not the biggest competitor that we have. We have two types of competitors: a type of competitor that is mostly on the review part, and the type of competitor that is mostly on the price part. So when you are at something, when you are on a path and there are so many competitors with you, especially at your stage, you probably are on the right place. You're at the right time at the right place. So it's just a matter of how fast you grow and how quickly you dominate the market. And that is how we want to move. We are having very, very ambitious plans to move fast. So yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah. I'm going to sidebar really quickly. Reza, you have the recording for this presentation. Somebody's asking if the recording will be available for later viewing, and how will it be accessible? Do you want to throw up your email address and have people email you so that you can email them the link? Or do you want to put
I
it
have
on
an easier way. blog.revioli.com is a place that all our vlogs and blogs go to. So I will put the link and the whole video right at blog.revioli.com. In addition to that, I can put my LinkedIn and yeah, if you want, I can put my LinkedIn there. So I will share it on LinkedIn too.
For the recording. Sorry, I'm typing this in the chat. And then, Reza, do you want me to put your email address in the chat, or do you want to go ahead?
Sure, absolutely, sure.
Okay. I'll do that in a minute once I ask you a couple of questions. I had some couple of questions come in. What is Revily's core technology that ensures that a company will always stay ahead of its competitors? And then sidebar on that one, is an infringement of the original website's data privacy confidentiality when Revioli obtains the prices and reviews from websites?
Very good question. So let me answer the second one first.
Okay.
So no, because reviews are like, first of all, reviews do not belong to the retailer or the website. Reviews belong to the writer of the review. It's like a journal, and the article that is published in a journal, that article belongs to the author of the article, but it is published in that journal. So a review that is on Amazon doesn't belong to Amazon, belongs to the author of the review. So that's about the legality. And of course, about the pricing, obviously, there is no legality at all involved there for sure. And then your other question was, what was the first question?
What is the core technology that your company has that ensures that the company will stay ahead of its competitors?
Sure. We have artificial intelligence, including, mainly machine learning and NLP. I can't get into it, but we have a technology called CRAFT, which is Consumer Review Analyzing Framework Technology, what we call it. Is patented. We have 2 patents on our system that is like a moat around the company to protect it against the competitors to, kind of get into our territory. But besides that, for, getting all the reviews processed, analyzed, because we show a lot of information about the reviews, it needs a lot of machine learning and NLP involved to get that review summary provided. So yeah, we are involved with big data, and we use ML to process it and improve it.
I'd like to add one thing to that. Why I think he's going to stay ahead of the curve is because most startups don't have the capability of having a R&D team, research and development team. Most startups just get by and get a product out there and hopefully it goes. Revioli has an R&D team, which is very unique. So they're able to generate new ideas and products and keep ahead of that curve as they develop, so that they're developing things new and integrating with what they have to be that next step ahead while they're in their infancy stage, while being protected by their patents, while being endorsed as an industry by the FTC, saying that these reviews are flooding our industry and the retailers have to take responsibility. If we get a complaint from a consumer that they get screwed over by a fake review or something, the retailer gets charged $44,000. These are the things I see from the outside that add to my conviction about the company succeeding or where it's going to go. Reza's got the pulse of the company and where it's going, but all these things combining from the outside looking in, from the inside looking out, forms that all kind of that answer that people are looking for, that you're asking about. So just wanted to add that too.
Okay, Matt, I'm going back to you.
Sure.
How does one start as a small angel investor? You mentioned syndicates. how does one choose one, or how does it work? Wait, how one chooses one, or this works?
You first have to look at your own tolerance level of what kind of investor you want to be. Do you want to be involved or not? If you're looking at a small dollar amount, you're going to be forced to go into the kind of the online syndicates where you may be able to look at a project online, read about it, click on a link and give in $1,000 or $2,000, like what Nightscope I told you was, where you just add your money in there and hopefully it goes and does well. But that sort of blew up right now, but that's where the risk is you don't really have any control. If you wanted to start off that way, Angel List is one. There's other sites that you can look up that allow you to do angel investing with smaller dollar amounts. If you have the ability to go to angel clubs, then you can actually join other angels and get pitched ideas from companies like Reza's that go in front of a panel, and those panels have angel investors that filter out for the rest of the group, and then those groups decide whether to come in as a syndicate. But that's more of an intimate level, probably a larger dollar amount, but a lot more intimate. Then, of course, that next step after that is going on your own, networking with companies and founders and other angels and asking, hey, what are you doing? What's your next deal? And so forth. Rubbing shoulders with other investors or founders. So that's why today I think it's just good to see, just us being average investors and average founders finding each other, how we find each other, how we talk, how we think. And that if you do talk to someone out there that's like-minded or wants to look at it together, share your resources and look into it, but ask around. So,
Matt, back to you. How do you join, or how do you find angel clubs?
Well, there's a lot of angel clubs out there, but the best way to do it is Google angel investment clubs, and you'll see which ones are in your area. Most likely, they're all based upon area. And when you do talk to them, they're going to ask for some criteria about your experience and if you're accredited. Accredited means that you have the capability and knowledge of putting in money that you're willing to lose, and you have a net worth that's able to support an investment like that. So keep that in mind, that if you don't have that much money to work with and you're putting everything on the line, they're not going to let you in and do any angel investing at all, because you can't support any failure, and it's a high risk sector. So
great. Friends, if you want to, you could do a screenshot, or you can get out the good old smartphone and take a picture. Those are the top 10 angel investor groups using Matt's suggestion, google.com. And you got some top ones, some locally, Band of Angels here in Menlo Park, or Investor Circle in San Francisco. Matt, have you heard as from Silicon Valley? Are those kind of the top ones, or?
Yes. Investor Circle, no, I haven't really heard of these ones, because I never actually went to any angel groups myself, so I don't really get exposure to it. I've been exposed to angel groups in Canada. I've been invited into those, but not in Silicon Valley. Being exposed there, just with my network, I had enough to work with. So, but I would definitely start with Google and looking at that. And I would put investment angel clubs in San Francisco or the Bay Area, wherever you live, and it would fine tune it just a little bit more. Okay,
there you go. Silicon Valley.
South Valley Angels, I've heard of. Yes, so there you go. There's different articles that you can look at, but yeah. So as I said, those are going to be more almost like club based. It's almost like you're going into a golf club membership type of environment. So just be ready for that. So
great.
Yeah.
I think unless you guys have anything else, Matt, are you okay if I put your email address in the chat?
Sure, that's fine.
Which one?
drmlee88@gmail.com is fine.
Okay, I'll put that one on there. I don't know. Some people want different ones.
Let me do that too. I forgot to do that. Sorry.
I think I put yours in there.
Oh, you did?
I think I did, but go ahead and put it again.
Simple stuff. RezaRevioly.com.
Matt, do you want to put yours in there, or you want me to?
If you can do that for me, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Got it. Hey, thank you so much, Matt. Thank you so much, Reza, for this program. I so appreciate your time in teaching us kind of about your world. And hopefully one day we can be rich in the pocketbook because of you guys. So thank you so much.
Well, you're very welcome. And I hope some of you get on that journey and go to the moon with us. So
yeah, absolutely. Just do it. That's the best thing that Nike says. Just do it. Thanks so much for having us. Excited.
Thank you. I'm going to stay online for just a little bit to answer any of your burning library related questions, or maybe other questions as well. But that's Matt's email in the chat box. Do me a favor. These guys are pretty busy, so unless they're pretty substantial questions, make sure to these guys are up all the time, doing a lot of stuff, as they said. So be cognizant of that.
Thanks again, Cheryl. Appreciate
you.
your time and your podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
everyone.
Thank you. And again, Reza has that. Oh, thank you. Reza has that recording. So you're going to go to his blog for that recording, because I know I'm going to get emails about that. Where do I go for the recording? So you're going to go over to him for that recording.
Yeah.
But I will stay online. And this is my last library program at Santa Clara. So yeah.
We wish you luck.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see you.
Congrats.
Yes.
New journey.
Thank you. I will see you guys soon at my other employment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
great podcast. Thank you very much again, Cheryl. Good luck.
Thank you
so much. Thanks, man.
Cheers,
it was nice seeing
Thanks,
you.
Reza. Absolutely. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.